I want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another political recap stream here on the Moisky Live channel, unless you're of course listening to this on Spotify or watching on Rumble, which it will be up tomorrow or on Sunday. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. If I do sound a little bit different, I am in the middle of a recovery from meh, and yeah, so do forgive me on that front, or part. Joining me to talk about a few topics of interest is Trups. Say hello, Trups.
Oh, it didn't work out as well.
I didn't, did
Hello,
it?
bro.
Hi.
Okay, it was a seltzer bottle this time.
It sounded like it had potential and then just went fizzed out on its own.
Yeah, which honestly is better because if it had made a loud sound, it would probably be all over my keyboard.
If it was seltzer, I'd agree with you.
It was indeed. So
there we are.
maybe for the best.
Yeah. Okay. How is Trups today?
Okay. It's fucking humid
Is it?
right now, and it's like it's going to rain, or it's threatening rain.
We've had a lot of rain where I am, and then as a complete twist, in other areas, a vast amount of my country is just covered in snow. Just not where I am, and I'm really annoyed. I like snow.
Yeah. California right now, or at least this
rains.
past week.
The rain.
Oh man, they had been getting flooded, and I mean absolutely.
You know how Texas can't handle snow? Yeah, I find it hilarious. They can't handle snow. California has to import water, but now they've got loads of it and they can't handle it. Need a reservoir. That's what they need.
It's one of those be careful what you wish for type of deals.
Yeah. Although I think it's somewhat poetic to an extent.
Oh, absolutely, 100% it is.
So what's been on the agenda for your week then, Trups? What have you been up to?
Oh, well, I don't have I guess too much previously to talk about, except for I had gone to an event for Yu-Gi-Oh, and
nice.
I acquired a mat for the new set that had just come out, so these were victories.
I have I don't have many. I never played Yu-Gi-Oh beyond the Destined to Duel on the Game Boy Advance, which I have still. Which I loved, actually. It was my first card game I ever played, actually, but I played it on the Game Boy Advance. I have a few Yu-Gi-Oh cards, though, laying around. Not a collection, just like one or two odd cards here or there from things I liked.
Oh, good. Those things might pose some interesting investment opportunities.
You never know. Maybe.
True.
Yeah.
But yes, as Michael says, I'm a nerd. You're right.
You're in. There's two. There's at least two here.
Yeah. What's it? With all your, we're sitting in a Trek styled room.
Yes. Well, I'm also surrounded by a fair bit of ignoring the guitar collection, I guess. There's a fair bit of like Warhammer and there's Pokemon as well. There's actually an entire shelf of Pokemon plushes.
I don't want to talk about the items, the nerdy things in my room.
Yeah.
From pop figures to things that are hanging on the walls.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But what about you? What have you been up to this week besides getting sick?
Well, so apparently I was sick last week, but I didn't notice. So it wasn't until the day of the gig. So Tuesday, was it Tuesday? Yes, Tuesday. Confirmation from my my gay lover behind me that we went to see Glory Hammer, Beast in Black, Brothers of Metal, power metal sort of gig in London, and on the way there, my voice started to go. And so when we went to Nando's, I explicitly said, I'm not going to go hot on the food because the spicy might irritate my voice even more. During the show, I was trying to sing along because I know the words, so the songs. I was having so much fun. We had a great spot. We saw everything. It was great, but my voice was completely ruined before the gig. And
before,
yeah,
not even after.
Yeah, well, at least afterwards, I had a nice, brisk, lengthy walk, getting lost around London for a bit. But we found our way back eventually to a hotel.
And you didn't get stabbed? That's amazing.
Well, we could have at one point. There were some rather dark roads, and a little park thing we had to cut through, and it was a bit, yeah. And then we
Jack the Ripper moment.
But being me, I decided to bring my hot chocolate velvetizer in my bag and make hot chocolates when we got back to the hotel. I was like, there we go, sorted. I brought alcohol, I brought hot chocolate, I brought swag. I didn't care. And obviously, a few days later, my voice is mostly recovered. It does sort of crack a little still.
Yes.
But I've been mostly just working all week and trying to make my voice work. And did a whiskey stream here 2 days ago, which was
don't you have another one scheduled too?
Tomorrow, yes. The one on Wednesday was an absolute pain in the ass because it was so hard to talk. It was so hard, and and this isn't a shot at my aforementioned gay lover, but he's not a streamer, so if I have to ask him to carry the stream, no offense intended, of course, he doesn't know how to do that because it's not in his nature. He doesn't do this. So he does. If I told you to carry the stream, I could walk away and you'd still be talking.
Yeah. I would at least do my best, even if that means I start reading chat and start interacting with them.
On that note, we should of course do that. Hello Chaos. Hello David. Hello Stina. Hello Paisley. Hello Otaku Gamer Judas. Hello Michael Nerd. Hello Bry. Hello Trups. Hello Leona. Hello Skog. Yes, London. Yes, and you're seeing Ailstorm. Yeah, I'm really annoyed about this because I can't. Because you'd asked me, Skog, to go to see Ailstorm with you, and I couldn't commit to it because I can't get. Because I've got Dragon Force next month as well. So this week, Glory Hammer, Ailstorm would have been in 2 weeks' time-ish. I couldn't get the guy to cover me as a guarantee. That's the problem. I could only get him to guarantee Dragon Force. And I couldn't get him to guarantee this time because the bastard's on holiday anyway and I'm covering him. A tosser.
I think in 2 weeks, I'm going to end up seeing Disturbed.
Oh, really? I'm quite jealous of that. Hello, number one. Hope you're well. I'm very jealous. Like, you've seen Avenged Sevenfold recently, and you've got more chance of seeing Bring Me the Horizon. I've seen them before, but not the version of them that I made good. Yeah, I saw Count Your Blessings, and obviously I met him, but very different time. Well, Through the Fire and the Flames would be a good song to see live, but Dave just wants to get close because he really likes Amaranth. He loves the singer, the male one. He's very, very fond of the male singer of Amaranth. He finds that guy really sexy. He's not replying, but he agrees.
I heard the silence.
Yeah.
I could only translate it into a coy stare up from his laptop.
If it weren't for the fact he's working, that would be true. But yes,
Land of Confusion. I love Land of Confusion. I love their Sound of Silence.
Everyone loves that, though. To be fair, everyone does.
Oh, but it needs to be stated. Actually, I really love the song that he just did with Ann Wilson, formerly of Heart.
Yes.
Beautiful song, and actually, I really love Ann Wilson's voice in it because she has that an older woman's voice, and it carries so much maturity, and there's like this sensation that you get while listening to it that there is in fact experience and pain in her voice.
I like that Disturbed don't take themselves as seriously anymore, because when they did, they were twats. Now they don't. They're a bit more also politically, their guitar player is considered fairly based by today's standards. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you can.
But yeah, they don't take themselves as seriously, and it makes it easier to not think of them as tossers like they used to be.
Well, I mean, even Dragon Force used to be like that. Henry Lee used to be an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere along the line...
It's Herman,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
It took me a second, and I was like, hang on a second.
Why did I say Henry? Who the fuck is Henry? Why do I have
It's his name. You've just doxed him now. It's Henry Lee now. Full dox.
Yeah, very Asian.
Yeah. Like Clive and
Herman
Stephen.
Lee, he used to be an asshole.
Yeah.
And somewhere between like the mid-teens, in year, not in his age.
He's in his late 40s now.
Somewhere along that path, he kind of came around, and I think it was because people just kept telling him how much shit he was.
Yeah.
Because of his attitude. And I think finally, like, somebody probably had to like sit him down and be like, you really gotta look at all these people who love the things you do. Why don't you try interacting with them and like meet them and genuinely try to identify with them? Because once he did the streaming during COVID and whatnot, he was like an entirely different person. That was when I realized that he was a different person.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so sorry. Random tangents. We could get into WWE, I guess, if you wanted to as well.
Oh God, no! Let's not, because
we'll do it later.
That's an hour-long subject. My vocal cords wouldn't be able to actually withstand the amount of ranting I'd like to do at that subject.
I understand.
I don't know why I still pay attention. I'll start with a nice, simple one for you. You may have seen recently, Nikki Haley was on a ballot in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
How did she do?
Oh, I mean, she got 35% of the vote, certainly.
Okay.
But she didn't win, you see.
I saw another ballot where Trump wasn't even on the ballot, and she still got...
Same ballot.
Oh, it's the same one. Oh, good, because there's another one we need to talk about after that. Who won that ballot?
I believe the exact winner is none of the above candidates.
Why is that, Trups?
Because Trump wasn't on the ballot.
Okay, so I'm now going to put up a screen capture for you all, because recently Donald Trump faces little competition and wins big in the Nevada caucus.
Mm-hmm.
He won by a large margin. He took 99% of the vote.
Yeah. Now, notice, caucusing and primarying are different.
They are.
I don't know why they do both.
Nikki Haley skipped the contest over an electoral process dispute between the party and the state.
That's why it happened. That's why there was a primary and a caucus. Now I understand.
Yeah. The thing is, this article here puts a very interesting sentence in. Donald Trump's only serious challenger left in the race. I think they're trying to inflate the importance of Nikki Haley here.
Who's it by? BBC? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It says that Miss Haley's team said they didn't take part, claiming it had been rigged for Trump. But she did appear on the state primary ballot. So
yes.
It's I'll only compete when I know I'm going to win. But you won't beat Biden, so why even bother?
Well, you see, because, well, actually, we don't know. We can presume certain things. I know that at least in some cases we've discussed whether or not she is doing this in order to, like siphon away money, whether for personal or political gain. We're not quite sure yet.
So Trump has won 3 states so far, and he's also won the U.S. Virgin Islands, which is obviously an unincorporated territory. He's won Nevada, Iowa, and New Hampshire. His next one is, says South Carolina, the very state that Nikki Haley is governor of.
Was,
sorry, my apologies. I should be corrected on that. How do you think he's going to do against her there?
I think that Trump is going to wipe the floor with her in South Carolina. South Carolina has basically all but already decided who they want. So I would be shocked to see if anybody even could come close to where he sits comfortably in this race.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine.
As I'm not American or from, obviously not from South Carolina or American, I don't know what the cultural perspective would be on Nikki Haley, or whether she was a good governor for that state. Do we know if she was a 1 or 2 term governor, or if she...
I believe she ended up leaving her governorship in the middle of one of her terms in order to become the UN ambassador.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Was that during the time of Trump, or was that during the time of Biden?
It was during Trump.
Oh, really?
It was actually Trump's decision to take her as a UN ambassador because of the way he put it, the good job that she had done as governor.
Really?
Everybody's going to have different opinions. One of the things that liberals like to tote for like things that she was able to accomplish was things like removing the Confederate state flag from our state house. Okay,
wait, that
cool.
Was,
I guess
was that still a thing?
Yeah,
the Confederate flag.
South Carolina decides that the Confederate history is something very, very not near and dear per se, but very important that they wish to at least have as a memory.
A reminder.
Yeah, because, okay. I mean, look, half of the state was burned when the Northern forces came through. The University of South Carolina was actually ended up being used as a barracks for the Union soldiers when they were marching through. That was after they set fire to the Russell House, which was the student center.
That's fascinating.
Oh, the state is a wealth of interesting, history. Being one of the earlier states, there's a fuck ton of interesting stuff. But, that being said, when it comes to individual opinions of how she did as governor, it's a toss-up. Depends on if you were impacted or not.
I guess it gets trickier if Trump is as popular there as you've said. It's going to be hard for her to remotely stand out if he holds as much sway as you say.
Well, it's that plus, I know that we had talked in the past where after Nikki Haley had gotten into all these different positions, she ended up taking a very lucrative role, helping out Boeing, helping
Boeing.
Remember, there was providing some land to some Chinese corporations that we had discussed.
Yes, I remember that.
There was a gas situation, a gas tax situation as well. But that one I don't quite remember, but that was because I didn't drive at that time. Because when I went to school, I didn't really... I did not drive. I chose not to.
Yeah, I get you. Hello, Edinburgh, by the way. Hope you're well. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope life is treating you good. She's still running for future offices, in my opinion, from Chaos. Do you think that's true?
Let's see. Absolutely. She's young enough that she wants to keep her name in the running for a lot of different opportunities. And I think that politically, that's a wise decision for somebody who still sees a future for them in politics.
Do you, out of curiosity, because I've never really paid enough attention, since she was a governor, would she ever consider running for Senate or Congress, or do you think that's something after? No?
That's almost kind of like taking a lesser position.
You
go from an executive position, right?
Yeah.
And then you go into
Senate is not a bad one, really, though, is it?
No, it's not. But you have to contend with all the other senators and all the other reps, as opposed to being a governor where you get to make unilateral executive decisions.
That's fair. Okay. The clarification is important, actually. Okay.
I'm merely presuming, based on her personality and what she has shown to us, is that she wants to be the one to make decisions.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be part of a collective that does, a collective effort. They want to be all of it, which is why she's running for president and not Senate.
To be honest, I could still imagine if somebody desperately still wants to just do something or be involved in politics, sometimes we do have to take a step back, don't we?
Oh, yeah. But what would be really interesting is, let's say she had wanted to run for actually U.S. Senate for South Carolina. Well, she would probably be running against Lindsey Graham. And if you have an opinion that old white, fuddy-duddies who have been in office for far too long are still causing issues, getting rid of Lindsey Graham would be quite an option.
Lindsey Graham's name rings a number of bells, and I can't remember why.
It's because he was very popular during the Kavanaugh situation, where he made a whole bunch of comments about whether or not he wanted Kavanaugh to be put through. He had a couple of interesting posts about Trump. He's a firebrand in the Senate, and people don't always like him. It's a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking at him now. He looks like an American politician.
Yes, he doesn't he though?
Like cookie cutter, comb over hairstyle. Like he just straight up looks like an American politician. How boring do you want to look?
Very. I mean, he's a mess.
He is now. Mostly because I was looking at a younger picture of him. Now look at an older picture. He looks like he needs some sleep. Skin's a bit stretched.
He's got to be a little up there in age, right?
He is 68. So to be honest, I think he should be retired. We've had this discussion about age limits for some politicians. Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Give
But
him 2 more years.
I don't particularly know where he would go with it all.
True.
But
okay, so there's been much discussion concerning your current president at the moment because of some classified documents. Have you heard about this at all?
So which president are we talking about? Because there's been two. Okay, so his is a very interesting circumstance because one of those contexts is that he had, they had a investigation into his usage of the
Justice Department,
his classified documents and where he was keeping them. And he wanted to point out that, oh my God, yeah, we have all this stuff. It's totally fine. Like, we don't have any of the issues that like the Trump team has, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, we see his hiding his stuff out next to his Corvette, right?
Yeah.
And that's where he's keeping it. So you look at that, and we expected an investigation and possibly even an actual thing before Congress where they would actually do something, or DOJ in this case. But no, we are not getting that.
No?
No, the DOJ is not apparently going to be charging Biden.
That sounds fair.
Bullshit.
That's what I said. Okay. I mean, I find that... I mean, I assume they're going to pounce on his hazy memory as being the reason for this not being as significant as that of others who had documents or tried to conceal them. For example, your president this year, I believe, confused both Mexico and Egypt.
I don't remember.
That was something from this week.
Was that recent? Was that recently?
Yeah. That was this week. Yeah.
I may not have seen that one.
Yeah.
Apparently, that wasn't what they wanted to bitch about.
No?
Apparently not.
Oh, fair enough.
But was not something that I really heard much about. But yeah, sure, why not? Forget what the difference between Mexico and Egypt is, I suppose.
So the report, according to which article is this? This is the Telegraph, so no doubt politically skewed. By all means, tell me I don't actually give a shit. It says here that Mr. Hur, H-U-R, concluded. I'll put it on the screen actually so you can see it. Mr. Biden had inappropriately stored classified documents, said that he may not have been aware at the time that if he faced a trial, a jury would find him to be a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. Biden said he was pleased to see they reached the conclusion I believed all along they would reach, there'd be no charges brought in this case, and the matter is now closed. I would, to be honest, I kind of get it, but then I kind of have issues with the elderly man with a poor memory part for somebody who's one of the most powerful men in the country and the world. But that's a separate issue, to be honest.
Well, we've actually seen even worse indications than just poorly stored classified documents. There was a report that I saw recently where Biden doesn't remember his time as a vice president. That's
mentioned in one of the articles I've linked in the chat. Because he was confused when he was VP. But also, I mentioned last week that he had confused how his son had passed, Bo. Because he forgets. Because he'd mentioned he died in battle on the phone or something, and then he made the Middle East confusion of Mexico and Egypt. That's not what happened to his son, and I kind of understand partially the confusion of Mexico and Egypt, but only if you think of them as sand only.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you think of it from Hollywood's perspective, sure. But, like, the difference is, instead of, like, ponchos, they're, like, you know, instead of, like, the poncho and, you know, and cactus rolling by, you think of camels and pyramids.
But that would, no doubt, based on Hollywood standards, anything that's meant to be supposedly Egyptian would have been filmed in Mexico anyway.
Likely, actually. Very much likely. So, like, I hadn't heard much about his forgetting of Mex-Egypt, as Michael puts in the chat. I think that's hilarious.
The problem is you're also running the guy who said we're headed for World War II. If that's what Trump said, he's a fucking moron. I love this. We'd had this discussion before, and I know you might not have seen it, Ed and Joe, so I'll happily state it. Both Trups and I have agreed that, to be honest, neither Trump nor Biden should be running anyway because they're too old. Neither should be.
Correct.
And we also believe that there should be age limits and term limits. And don't be pedantic, Chaos. So age limits and term limits seems fair in all political spheres. If you have age limits for certain occupations, like medical field, you should have it in the political field. So I'll be honest, I don't think it. I think that there should be fresh meat doing this, 100%. But that's not what you guys are running. You guys are running very politically charged individuals, and it's very poisonous, but hilarious to look at. I think Trump's an idiot half the time, but he's the Republican. He's going to be the Republican candidate. And he's going to go against Biden, and it's going to be a very interesting election race, especially if we don't see much of Biden like we did last time, because I think that's how they're going to do it. Because he's so completely addled that I can't imagine him doing many debates at all or campaigning, because he's been fluffing every sentence he utters, and you've got another guy who just speaks as much as he can, and eventually there will be a sentence in there that makes sense.
That's willful hope, certainly.
I'm trying
I don't
my
know.
best.
Oh, I know, and so does he. Bless his wife, honestly, for guiding him up in the stairs and all that shit.
Yeah, and I agree, Andrew. There should be a too old requirement as well. If you have an age old for young, and I know about the young one because I remember reading that years ago. You told me as well recently to correct me.
35, I think it was.
It was, I think, or something like that.
Yep. And what's interesting is the guy. The comment that we are also running the guy who is who believes that we're in for World War II, or that he won an election against Obama. The Obama one is a really interesting one because colloquially we actually know what he's getting at, and the idea is that Obama is whom he believes is pulling the strings.
I can't imagine
whether or not it's true.
Do you think?
But that was what Obama said he wanted to do.
Do you think Obama is actually remotely involved in any of this?
I mean, no.
I'm not saying to deride you or anything. I can't imagine.
But,
like, we saw what happens to every president that serves 2 terms. They age so much, Obviously, in the case of Biden, he's been there 4 years and he hasn't changed at all because he went in looking like he belonged in a crypt, and he's going to be leaving looking like he's probably going to go into one straight away, or a care home. But in the case of Obama, he aged significantly. I can't imagine he'd want to go back to that stress even just to help somebody, unless he's getting phone calls and just answering Biden and just saying, yes, the ice cream's in that freezer in that room. And if you get that joke, you've watched the text-to-speech stuff, the Obama, Biden, Trump AI sort of conversations. Shorts on joke.
Yes.
That's a part of the conversation because Biden in that loves ice cream. It's hilarious.
I'm a big fan of those random AI things. I think they're really funny.
They cancelled it. They stopped doing it.
I know.
I cried. And there's no proof that Obama isn't. I'd agree. But at the same time, I it's unless you've got proof, it's too conspiratorial. It feels like a tinfoil hat moment.
Well, I mean, the time between conspiracy theory and resolution is merely one Alex Jones clip away.
Oh God, he's been very vocal on Twitter about something else, but we'll get to that soon. Before we get to that, actually, because I've got some sources for it. But I can't play one of them because it's the full 2-hour discussion. Last week I spoke to you all about Labour Party's reneging on the Green Deal, Green Fund they called it. It was part of their their signature, their main policy, like Biden's Build Back Better alliteration bollocks. There's their green fund worth about $28 billion a year on green energy, and last week they abandoned it, which so close to an election cycle, which is like now anyway, basically, seemed like a really bad idea. But Labour have now confirmed that they're abandoning their plans to insulate 19 million homes in a decade, because instead they're only going to promise to retrofit 5 million homes by 2030, which gives them 6 years to do 5 million homes, because they think it'll take up to 14 years to bring housing stock up to basic energy efficiency standards. Now, the silly thing about the energy efficiency standards is that changes every single year. So if you then move 5 million homes into what is considered energy efficient by 2024 standards, in 2030 they might not be, and you'll find more homes no longer within that bracket, so you're not actually making any inroads, you're fighting a losing battle. But there's another reason they're scrapping it, because they need that money for other things, to look good doing other things, not to build more properties, because they sure as fuck won't do that. They want to throw it at the NHS, which is understandable. They want to throw it at basically anything that they think will make them look better in the first 5 years, to take attention away from the fact that to do what they're going to have to do, they're going to have to borrow shitloads of money, which we really can't afford. So it's promised that instead of $28 billion a year on net zero carbon emissions, which is what the pledge was originally, they're going to spend less than a fifth of it. That's
where's the rest of it gonna go?
Well, I don't have a clue. It's just gonna be just under $5 billion they're gonna spend. They plan to reduce borrowing from the plan, so that's how they're going. They are claiming that the $28 billion is originally intended as borrowed money. So actually, what they're saying now is they're going to borrow less. I don't think they're going to do that at all. Now, $2.2 billion is going to be paid for by extending the windfall tax on the profits of oil and gas companies. That sounds like business for the first 5 years anyway. 2.6 will come from increased government borrowing, a term that Labour are all too familiar with and will continue to take advantage of. Now, Labour said it would still be enough to fund new investment in nuclear energy, something which I've said many times with this country and many countries need to get more involved in, because we can't keep on pushing, my country can't, with the coal idea, gas, oil, nuclear is our best option, really. Fracking isn't. We're too small anyway. Sorry. So it would make more sense for this country to push with nuclear. Obviously, there's an issue there. You can only have a nuclear plant up for X number of years, and disposing of the waste is another problem entirely.
Mm-hmm.
I see no reason why, if we have to keep on having boats arrive in this country with people who shouldn't be here, why we can't send our waste to France. I've got a friend behind me who just nodded his head. He agrees. I'm sorry, you're willing to keep risking people over the Channel crossing. I'm going to risk some nuclear waste.
Woohoo! Nuclear waste!
But yes, I fully agree with the nuclear thing, and also new gigafactories for electric battery manufacturing. This one confuses me a little bit because I remember years ago in secondary school being told there is a very finite amount of lithium in the world, very limited amount, and some people own vast quantities of it, and so it would be a lot harder to push for these kind of factories because we don't have access to the lithium to be able to make the batteries anyway. So a lot of companies, for example, in this country, I can't remember, was it 2030 or 2050? They were going to get rid of petrol cars entirely, or diesel. So in 6 years, the plan was by this government originally to get rid of diesel and petrol. Yeah. New diesel. Well, they'll get rid of the fuel stations as well, wouldn't they?
No, they'd have to keep the stations.
Really?
People would have the cars, but they wouldn't sell any.
Oh, right. They would get rid of the cars, right? Okay. This makes sense. Hello, Lisa and True King of Scotland. If I've missed anyone, do say hello. I see people talking about weed and about mushrooms. In the past, I held the very firm view of not legalizing either, because I wanted to protect the health of people, because I believed that and I'm saying this in the past tense on purpose. Please pay attention, because I know far too many people who have had adverse reactions to different types of Kush, for example. And my worry was based on their health. But I'm also acutely aware that it is impossible in many instances for many types of substance for everyone to have the same reaction. For example, whiskey. I'm drinking a glass of it right now. I can guarantee somebody else drinking this wouldn't have the same reaction I would have.
Oh, some people just straight up die. Some people actually have an allergy to alcohol.
Exactly. Or something as simple as medicine with penicillin, perhaps. And that realization, coupled with my, let's say, mellowing over the years, I think if you're going to legalize it, tax the fuck out of it. Straight up, just tax it. Okay? Because we can make some.
You don't even have to tax the fuck out of it. You can just tax it a bit.
Exactly. I agree. I'm just being a dickhead.
No, I know.
So Undoomed and I had a very verbal, aggressive argument back in 2015 about this, and another person was sat in the VC with us, and they said, Undoomed's coming at this from a capitalist position of money. Meg's coming at this from a position of protecting the people, because I cared about their health. And then over the years, I developed a very much, I don't give a shit, just don't blow it in my face. Blow it in my face, I'm allowed one free punch. It's called Pick a Hand. Hello, Zombie Teddy. And if you blow that shit in my face, like a cigarette, I will smack you in the face. I've got a friend of the family, whenever I stand outside and he's having a cigarette, he actually, as a genuine mark of respect, he moves away from me to make sure the wind does not blow it into my face. Yeah. I don't like smoking, straight up. And that's what you're supposed to do. If you blow that crap in my face, I should be allowed to hit you. It's not internet tough guy territory. This is instantaneous reflex of bye.
Well, also it is. I don't want to use the word assault there, but it is disorienting when suddenly I'm covered in cloud.
I find it more disrespectful, but you are right about that as well. To be honest, they're both in the same. They were falling in the same bracket, really, don't they? As well. But I think if you're going to do that, tax it, legalize it, and tax it. Just keep it away from me. Simple as that. And don't encourage people to take it unless it is for medicinal purposes. Because I think there are some our government's a little bit backwards on this. A little bit backward on the whole CBD thing as well sometimes. And when it comes to what the science says and what they actually do, governments often ignore the science to suit themselves. Science is ahead of them and they know it, but they can't play politics with science. They tried to with COVID and they did a really bad job of it. Anyway, the Labour admitted that they're going to be disappointed they're not allowed to borrow £28 billion in what they call an investment. Yeah? And you are right, Edinburgh, I agree. But they believe that this is their way of being more responsible in their first term because the Conservatives are going to crash the economy, send interest rates soaring, and that they don't want to inherit these issues. Therefore, they need to make sure their plans are consistent with the rules. Their rules, by the way, rules they've not shared with us. I'm going to put the Labour article in the chat for those who are interested. All sources are archived for a reason, because the internet's forever. There it is. We should probably now move on to the obvious subjects of the day. So, episode 73, Tucker Carlson tweeted out 23 hours ago. I'm going to share, not play the video, well, the video will be playing but muted. I'm going to show you this. This is Tucker Carlson in Moscow. And he met up recently with Vladimir Putin. Now, I remember upon this being announced that the first thing I saw was that Tucker Carlson should be arrested and tried under the Treason Act or something. And I didn't agree. At the same time I saw this, I also saw a reporter walking in a wooded, grassy area with Zelensky, put out around the same time as this. And I don't know if it was an older interview and a clip was just resurfaced, but they were getting very emotional talking to Zelensky about stuff that, well, at the moment they started crying, I cringed, okay? I had to bow out. I'm English, I can't do emotion. I got a friend next to me, he hugged me once and I said, you get one. I can't do emotions. If people try it, I literally zone out. I don't even rage quit. I just quit. You hear me tapping out because I can't be asked. Okay, you don't need a submission hold. Just get emotional with me, which is hilarious for somebody that constantly gets called an emo, which is funny. None of this constitutes treason, just shit journalism. It could be. I haven't seen it. That's the annoying thing. I haven't had a chance to watch 2 hours, 5 minutes. The only thing I wanted was to be able to sit down and watch this, which is why I'm not going to comment on what has been said. I'm more interested in what the perspective has been, because there's been quite the uproar about this. Have you had a chance to watch any of this?
Part of it. I have not been able to sit through all of it. No.
I've seen some clips with them talking about the what was it? It was an incident, and Putin attributed it to the CIA and not himself. What was it? I can't remember.
Was it when he killed the political opponent or the political rival in the UK? I think it was.
Or with the glowing tea?
I think so.
I don't. No, it wasn't. Let me see.
Because I know there was a conversation about
Nord Stream. Nord Stream.
Oh.
Nord Stream. Nord Stream was what it was. And he attributed it. Instead, he mentioned he can prove it wasn't him, but can you say the same about the CIA or something? Putin also said Poland style. I was Nord Stream. Thank you, Skog. So I'm going to say there are a couple of things about this that stand out. Firstly, I don't know how they managed to convince Putin to do this interview in the first place, because I didn't think he'd be willing to sit with anyone. I legit didn't think he would. I thought that was intriguing. I don't actually understand that part because I haven't seen this. So I don't know it. If he says it in this, he does, as you can see on the screen, talk about history as well, and people really credited Putin for this. He mentioned Prince Rurik. If anyone's played Guild Wars, you'll remember that name well. He died. I was intrigued by the claim by many who support Tucker in this, who said that Putin articulating his historical perspective and using history to make his points made him look more professional. And then they immediately said, compared to a guy who can't remember can't tell the difference between Mexico and Egypt, which, I mean, it's false equivalence. I get the point at the same time, but this guy can't fight bears anymore, so don't try me. There's another point, though, about optics. Because some, as has been pointed out in the chat, point out this is not good optics. But as we've seen on social media, on Twitter, obviously Twitter, there are many that have said also this is good optics because it shows a willingness to talk to those you would disagree with. But then I haven't seen the interview to know whether or not Tucker actually does look good in this yet. Yeah?
Well, okay. So the answer to one of your inquiries being the question, why did he agree to this in the first place? Well, he answered that.
Yeah.
Like, Putin did say, he said basically, because everybody else is a government shill, essentially. BBC complained because they have tried to get interviews. Like, everyone has tried to get interviews.
Right.
And Putin basically has said, no, you work for a media establishment that doesn't like me. No. And then Tucker said, you're not attached to a media industry anymore, are you? No. Well, come on in.
I don't want to be devil's advocate for a second here, but like the BBC, they're held to these weird, in the UK, some very peculiar standards about being tied. They're establishment, but they're not. They are and are not tied to government in a very odd way.
You guys get like 35. The BBC gets like 35% government funding. No,
they get a lot of funding from the government, but that's part of that license thing. It's not quite the same. They're not told they have to give a message for it. It's a tricky. The BBC is a weird one. I do think they're biased though, but I think it's also strange from a guy, and this is again not a devil's advocate thing. It's more of a observation of Putin because he lives within this weird little biome of Moscow where he rules supreme in his area. But as I remember from documentaries talking about presidents or whatever they're called in Moscow in Russia, in the motherland, that people who rule this land are so removed from society they themselves don't even know what their country is beyond the history that they retell because they don't have any connection to the public. And he's not a popular guy in his own country. He's been silencing leaders left, right, and centre. And he's imprisoned one. He's had another one deselected or arrested. Like he has the shadiest past ever. And so I mean, as Edinburgh's pointed out, Tucker doesn't seem to disagree with Putin, and also why? Because Tucker has been defending Putin. I don't know anything about this. This is why I'm intrigued, because I don't make it a point to watch. I have far too much to do, quite frankly. I'm intrigued how the perspective is, and I need to watch this, I will admit, to understand
the drama is very you can basically guess how and where the drama falls in this. It's not rocket science to find out who's going to be upset and who's not. The people who want to say that that like Tucker is an asset, they have that opinion because of Tucker's political opinions being different than their own.
Yeah.
If they were on their side, for example, let's say that it was somebody from the BBC or the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times getting to interview Putin, no one would have any complaints about him doing the oh hey, you know, he's giving a platform to this man who is, you know, related to genocide. Like, they wouldn't have had that complaint if it were the Wall Street Journal, New York Times. But they have that complaint when it has to do with Tucker.
Okay.
You ask yourself why that is.
Sorry, airy cough. Do you think there is in this any possibility of good optics? Because I kind of do see good optics in one respect, but only in a very naive sense of, because I haven't seen this, in the sense of, we haven't heard much from Putin, so I want to hear what he has to say. You know, like I want to hear, I want to see how he plays the politics, but I want to see him do it in front of somebody, even if it is somebody that might be defending him. I need to hear Putin's translated voice to understand how he articulates his justification for his actions. And there is a video in this interview, apparently, of him potentially. Oh, it was Alex Jones. Oh God, I can't use it. Alex Jones tweeted out a peace. Sounds like Russia is willing to make peace with Ukraine. I don't know if that's true or not, so I'm not gonna. So that there's a possibility of Tucker in it. It can be spun for Tucker as a good optics, in the sense that he got to sit down with, and listen to Putin explain himself, right? But without, and it is right, it's humanizing Edinburgh. You're absolutely right. It's a tricky. I'm trying to be very careful because I know this stream's going to be demonetized. So it's to me, it's really. I don't know how to articulate quite how odd this is, but at the same time, I'm fascinated because I'm not involved. I'm not, as involved in this. So I look at this and I think this could be quite a it could be a door-opening incident, right? I do agree, though, with the parody account of Elon Musk that if Tucker is going to sit down with Putin, maybe he should also sit down with Zelensky, although I can imagine Zelensky would have him arrested.
They would now.
Yeah, they would. Although, to be honest, we've got politicians in the UK. Boris Johnson here. What did he say? Where was it? He attacked Putin into saying it was straight out of Hitler's playbook, because he has been the stooge of the tyrant, the dictator, to the dictator, and a traitor to journalism. Now, I don't agree traitor to journalism because journalism doesn't have integrity to betray, to be honest. But that's just me being pedantic with what journalism has become. Statistics don't lie about that. But I don't know if it is because I haven't seen it. But I'm intrigued by the reaction when we have others like those who are more involved on this platform that I'm showing the clip of. Well, it's playing muted. Well, it's paused now.
With Poland to start.
Do that. Where it's sort of playing in mute. Where many on this site, especially, not that they have much sway in the real world, who are taking the stance of that this could be a good thing because it opens up a dialogue, right? The same Boris that scuttled peace talks. Yes, it's the exact same one, oddly enough. Boris does love to talk his way in and out of situations, or make situations with words by simply opening his mouth and allowing the rest to happen. This is a man who, unironically, claimed not to be racist, whilst also declaring his love for the word pickaninny, which requires a bit of context. Is not a good in our country. Is not considered a very good word these days. Let's go with that. He's an amusing guy, I will admit, though. I'm going to say from the outset, I just want to make it quite clear: neither of us are going to be pro-Putin. I don't think that many are. I'm not pro-Putin, though, for an earlier reason, really, with his career. He served 2 terms as president. Then he was taken over by, succeeded by Medvedev. Putin changed the rules, became prime minister for a term, and realized that the constitution never said that he couldn't just be re-elected president afterwards for another 2 terms. He changed the rules so he could be president again. His popularity in each election since his first win has gone down, but he still retains that control because Russia lives within a state of perpetual Stockholm syndrome. It doesn't know how to exist with any modicum of freedom. It only ever knows control. Back to the Tsars, and I remember doing education on the Tsars when I was a kid. Like, back then to present, they've always known what it's like to be under a thumb.
Doctor of History agrees.
My friend's a doctor of history and thugonomics, and he agrees. You can't see him, though.
Much like the doctor.
Well, they can't see any of us.
True. So, oh, sorry. Dry cough. Thank you. Do you have what are your thoughts about what you've seen of this interview
I think that it was
or this conversation?
Well, I think what it provides is a very interesting insight to somebody who, let's be honest, we've only been able to speculate on.
He has been threatening for a while to pull buttons and push triggers and stuff. And yes, I spoke wrong on purpose. Like, he's been threatening massive war to the point, I think in my country, wasn't there talk that perhaps we might end up getting, well, he won't because of health issues and I'm too old. Conscription for people will be enlisted and just told they're going to war with Russia. It's like, I'm sorry, none of us are military trained, but based on military fighting techniques, we don't even need to be commandos. We'd still wipe the floor with them.
Well, did you see the comment by who was it? It was
there was an online commentator, wasn't it, that said I'm not going to war because I can't do like something as simple as my laces or something.
Oh no, it was Chuck Schumer, who basically said if we don't fund Ukraine, then we lose the war.
Wait, what?
Chuck Schumer said on an interview
Oh,
on one of
yes, I saw. I have the source for that. I think I put it in our server.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did. I saw that. It cracked me up. No, please tell me I did. Yes, I've got it. He says if the border bill isn't passed, Americans will regret it and might be sent to fight in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's on the server. I put it in there yesterday. Tweeted by. I'll put it on the server for on stream for everyone to see. I will admit this. Is it going to work? Yeah, it's a video clip. It's 2 hours 20 minutes. 2 minutes 22 seconds long. I'm not going to play the audio or the video, but don't threaten to send people to war just because of a border bill not being passed. I mean, it's funny to say it, but you're in politics. You shouldn't be making those kind of jokes. Although, hang on, what's Chuck Schumer's involvement in the border bill? I don't know about this part.
Oh, it was just because. So, I think we had this discussion, but basically, the border bill is their way of basically forcing the Republicans to accept a losing condition, where the actual border bill itself is a Trojan horse for foreign aid. Yes, it gives the border, I think, I want to say like 1/6 of the bill's actual funding.
That sounds like something I remember in the past, where the House was willing to give Trump some to start building his wall, but only a very small amount of it.
But the point is that they are explaining it to you. It's a border security bill. What they don't tell you is that 80 billion of it goes to Ukraine, and another 20, I think, goes to Israel.
Oh, dear.
And then the remainder of like the $118 billion bill that goes to the border.
I thought the U.S. government was getting a bit impatient with Israel at the moment. I might be remembering things wrong. I remember seeing something in passing. Okay, I'm sort of impressed, by the way, because I thought Chuck Schumer was dead. My mistake. Okay, back to the interview with or conversation. Oh no, I can't show that. The conversation with Putin. Do you think this conversation? These are just some wild questions. Do you think this would lead to any more further discourse, or do you think it's one of those ones where, because Tucker's done it, everyone could just tar and feather him and then intentionally not talk to Vladimir Putin?
Well, they're already trying. The EU wanted to label him as a traitor, wanted to impose sanctions.
Yeah, I saw that. The Treason Act thing was mentioned.
Yeah, which I think is a really, really weird thing to do, considering other journalists have tried, and they wouldn't have tried to impose that on any other journalist.
Is Tucker Carlson a journalist when you consider what he's now is more of a
He's the same as we are by any stretch of the imagination. He reads a story, he comments on it, he seeks out more information. Like, if we are judging the quality of journalists by their association with a media industry, then citizen journalism is dead. Glenn Greenwald is no longer a journalist.
Okay, who's Glenn Greenwald?
He's the guy who he started a media company.
Oh, like Murdoch.
Yeah, but then he was subsequently ousted by that same company because, well, they fucked it up.
I'm kind of intrigued because I will be watching this at some point. It probably won't be till after my gay lover has gone home. Because I obviously got to spend my time with him lovingly, and of course
it was the Intercept, by the way, that he founded.
Ah, right, good to know. But I do obviously want to make it quite clear that I'm not going to judge this conversation that you're seeing on the screen muted until I've had a chance to watch it. I'm intrigued that, for example, Elon, he's got easy to watch any X video on your TV, but he has actually said this is quite an important conversation to watch. And obviously, he has a very political, skewed perspective. I understand. But I do think that to draw a conclusion, everyone has to, and by Chaos, thank you for being here, everyone should watch these kind of conversations, either to back what they believe already, or to try and vaguely get how someone can play another person, or how they try and shift the perspective politically, or I don't know what actually else really. But you know what I mean. I think it's fundamentally important for any and all discourse that conversations like this need to exist, regardless of motivation. What?
Our stream got suspended.
What?
Yeah. I just saw it pop up. Stream suspended for policy violations.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Boo. Well, go on with what you're saying. We gotta finish up anyway.
It says excellent on my end. What's going on here?
Yeah. Well, continue what you're saying, because we gotta finish up the recording for Rumble.
Well, yes, of course. I don't know because I've been suspended.
The stream was suspended.
I'm confused.
YouTube, everybody.
It says 25 people watching now, though.
Oh no, they're still in the chat, but like the screen literally says stream.
Oh, it does on my end as well. But
I talk too good of Putin, I guess. I get like
stream unavailable, stream system policy. Okay, well I'll get rid of the Twitter thing, I guess. Back here. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what I was going to say. So I'm
sorry, I kind of derailed you there.
You did, but rightfully so. All right. Well, we're going to have to end it. Okay.
Boo! What policy?
I can't risk my account, so we're going to have to end here, chaps. Are we here next week?
Fine. I believe so, yes.
All right. Well, this will be on Rumble anyway. But I might not be able to download what's been on the screen.
Oh wait, it's back. Hello.
Stream is no longer being blocked due to copyright issues. I thought we're back.
Lol.
It says it. I've got it on. I'll screenshot that so you can see it, Traps.
Oh yeah, no, it came back.
Yeah, I'll show. No, but on the screen you'll see it. When I'll show you the I'll show you. It says on the thing. No longer it's on our server. No longer being blocked where the green dot is.
Oh, that's so weird. It was copyright. It was because you had the fucking Tucker interview up.
Yeah, but I wasn't. Okay, fair enough.
Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Sorry about this. We're gonna have to vanish. We'll be back next week. Ta-ta, everyone. Do like it. My points were probably not heard. Yeah. I'm gonna go and have a little cry and see if I've never had a copyright issue on this channel before. I don't want to get a strike.
Oh well.
All right. If I do, I can't stream here.
Right, I understand.
Okay, well, we're vanishing.